someone is coming to spoil you. And before your mind does what your mind does, before it immediately begins the audit of whether you deserve that, whether it is real, whether there is a catch hiding somewhere in the good news, whether something this straightforward actually applies to you specifically. Just let that sentence land first. Someone is coming to spoil you, not as a concept, not as a hopeful possibility somewhere in the abstract future, as a real, specific, already in motion reality, involving a real person who has already made real decisions that are moving them in your direction with an intention that is clearer and more certain than anything you have been offered in a very long time. This is not a maybe. This is a when. Let me tell you who this person is. Not their name, not their appearance, the truth of them, the interior of them, the specific quality of who they are that makes what is coming different from what has come before. This person is a giver, not in the exhausting, unsustainable, I give until I have nothing left way that often gets confused with love. In the genuine, overflowing, this is simply who I am way that belongs to people who love from abundance rather than from lack, who have enough inside them that giving does not deplete them, who experience genuine pleasure in the act of making the people they love feel seen and celebrated and taken care of in ways both large and small. They have been looking for someone worth giving to at full capacity. Most people, they have learned, are not comfortable with the full version of what they offer, find it overwhelming, do not know how to receive it without either dismissing it or becoming dependent on it in ways that eventually collapse the dynamic. They have been careful because of that, selective in a way that has sometimes felt like loneliness but was actually discernment, and something in you called to something in them. The specific quality of who you are reached this person in the way that only happens between people who are genuinely matched, not perfectly matched, not without complexity or difference or the ordinary friction of two distinct people learning each other, but matched in the foundational sense, in the sense that matters when everything else is accounted for. They recognized you before you fully recognized them, and they have been moving toward you with the specific patience and the specific certainty of someone who knows what they found and is not willing to be careless with it. I need to talk about what spoiled actually means, because the word carries baggage for some people, implies excess, implies something unearned, implies a passivity that does not sit well with someone who has Virgo's particular relationship to effort and worthiness and the feeling that things have to be deserved through demonstrable means. So let me redefine it for you. In the specific terms of your specific situation, to be spoiled by this person means to be on the receiving end of someone's full attention, not divided attention, not the leftover attention that arrives after everything else in their life has been tended to, the full thing, yours, because they have decided that you are worth organizing their priorities around, worth making space for, worth the specific, deliberate, this is how I choose to spend my energy investment of someone who does not make that investment casually. It means being known, not the version of being known that happens when someone has accumulated facts about you. The deeper version where someone has paid close enough attention for long enough that they understand the difference between what you say and what you mean, between what you ask for and what you actually need, between the face you present to the world and the one underneath it that only appears when you finally feel safe enough to stop performing. This person wants the one underneath. They are coming for that one specifically. And it means being chosen daily, not just once in a grand gesture, not just in the beginning when everything is new and effort is easy, in the ordinary moments, in the Tuesday afternoons, in the difficult conversations, in the seasons when life is complicated and love requires something more than good feeling to sustain itself. They are a daily chooser. You are going to feel the difference. Let me talk about the lifetime piece, because it is in the title and it deserves its own honest examination rather than being treated as romantic decoration. Lifetime is a word that gets used carelessly, so I want to use it carefully. What I feel in the energy of what is coming for you is not the intoxication of early connection that announces itself as permanent before it has been tested by anything real. That is not what this is. What I feel is the specific, sober, genuinely considered quality of someone who has thought about the long game, who does not pursue connection for the feeling of it in the short term, but for the building of something in the long term. This person thinks in decades, not because they are rigid or lacking spontaneity, but because they understand that real things are built over time, that depth is not given, it is developed through sustained presence and genuine curiosity, and the daily practice of choosing someone not just when it is easy, but especially when it is not. They are built for that, and they have been waiting for someone else who is built for it too. Someone who does not need the connection to be perfect to stay committed to it, who understands that the best things require patience, who has enough internal substance to sustain something real rather than needing constant novelty to keep the feeling alive. That person is you. That has always been you. Does something in you feel this already? Not just the hope of it, the actual sense that something is shifting in the relational field around your life, that the quality of who is showing up for you has been changing, that something that was absent before is beginning to make itself known. Have you noticed a different quality of attention from someone recently? Something that felt more deliberate than casual, more interested than polite? Tell me in the comments. Tell me if this is already moving in your world or if it still feels like something approaching from a distance. One honest sentence, because your honesty here creates something real, and someone reading it tomorrow is going to need what you have to say. Now I need to go somewhere that most readings about love do not go. Because delivering good news without being honest about what stands between you and receiving it fully is not really delivering good news. It is delivering a promise without the map. You have been trained out of receiving, not all the way, not completely. You still receive care in certain doses from certain people, in certain quantities that stay within a range your nervous system has decided is safe and believable and not likely to be taken away. But the full version, the kind that is coming, the spoiling, the deep dive, the daily choosing, the someone who thinks in decades level of love that is moving toward you right now, that version is going to push against something installed a long time ago by experiences that taught you accurately in those specific contexts, but inaccurately as a universal rule, that love at this level always has a cost, that the bigger the offering, the bigger the eventual loss, that allowing yourself to be fully received by someone, fully seen and fully chosen and fully present in their life as someone they are organizing themselves around creates a vulnerability that has historically been dangerous. So you have been managing the dosage, taking enough to feel connected, but not so much that losing it would be catastrophic. It has been a survival strategy, and it has kept you safe from something real, but it has also kept you from something real. And what is coming is too full, too genuine, too specifically matched to what you actually need to fit inside a managed dosage. It is going to ask you to open wider than feels safe, and I need you to do it anyway. Here is what that looks like in practice. When this person gives you something, a compliment, an act of care, a moment of genuine seeing, resist the reflex to immediately return it before it has fully landed. The reflex to immediately reciprocate is not generosity, it is deflection, a way of moving the attention off yourself before the vulnerability of being on the receiving end becomes too much to sit with. Let it land first. Say thank you and mean it, and let the meaning of it settle in your body before you move on. When they choose you in a visible way, in a way that makes the choosing undeniable, resist the impulse to find the explanation that makes it smaller. The impulse that says they are being kind, or they do not know you well enough yet, or this level of attention cannot be sustained and therefore should not be fully trusted. It can be sustained. This one can. And when they show you who they are, when the evidence accumulates that this person is exactly what they appear to be, exactly as genuine and as consistent and as actually in this as they have been presenting themselves. Believe it. Without the asterisk, without the waiting for the other shoe, just believe it, because some people are exactly who they say they are. And you have spent enough time around people who were not to have earned the right to experience someone who is. I want to say something about the deep dive part of this reading, because depth is where Virgo actually lives. The surface is where you are polite. The surface is where you perform the version of yourself that is socially legible and appropriately measured and does not ask too much of the people around you. But the deep is where you are actually you. The complex, layered, endlessly interesting, occasionally contradictory, deeply feeling, precisely observing, quietly extraordinary you that most people do not have the patience or the capacity to reach. This person has both the patience and the capacity, and they are not interested in your surface. They are going to keep asking questions, keep going deeper, keep finding new layers, and treating each one as a discovery worth celebrating rather than a complication to be managed. Keep showing up for the versions of you that are less polished and more real and harder to love than the competent, together, I have it handled version you lead with. They want to know how you are when you do not have it handled. They want to be the person you call when things are hard before you have figured out how to make the hard thing presentable. They want full access. And for once, Virgo, you get to give it without it being used against you, without it becoming the thing that eventually pushes someone away, without having to ration your own interior to keep someone comfortable. full access to someone who can hold it, who wants to hold it, who will consider it the greatest privilege of their life to hold it. Something I feel needs to be said before we close, and I feel it strongly enough that I am going to say it without softening it. You have given a lot in previous chapters, in previous connections. You have been the person who showed up fully while the other person showed up partially, who loved specifically while being loved generally, who gave their actual self while receiving a performance of someone's better intentions, who stayed longer than was right because leaving felt like failure and the love was real even when the reciprocity was not. That is over. Not because you decided it was over, because something shifted in you at a level below conscious decision. Something that quietly, finally, without announcement, stopped accepting less than what it knew it deserved. Not loudly, not as a declaration, just a settling. A line drawn not in anger, but in clarity. And that settling changed what is available to you. What is available to you now is someone who matches your capacity, who does not need you to shrink your love to a size they can manage, who has the interior space to hold the full version of what you offer and return it in kind, in full, without you having to manage the difference. That is what spoiled means for Virgo. Not excess, not indulgence. Finally, being matched. As we close, I want to leave you with something simple. Let it happen. That is all. Let it happen. Do not orchestrate it or overthink it or prepare a version of yourself that is designed to be worthy of it. You are already worthy of it. You have been worthy of it the entire time. Just be where you are. Be fully, honestly, unguardedly where you are. And let the person who is coming find you exactly there. Because they are not coming for the version of you that has it together. They are coming for all of it. The whole complicated, beautiful, precisely feeling, quietly powerful, unmistakably Virgo reality of everything you are. And they are going to consider themselves lucky every day for a very long time. Tell me in the comments what this opened in you. Tell me the one thing that hit differently. Tell me if you felt this reading in your body somewhere before your mind caught up with it. I read every word you leave here. Until next time, Virgo, someone is coming with their whole heart and enough patience to prove it is real. Let them, for once in your life, just let them